We've done adding and subtracting integers. Now we're going to do with multiplying and dividing. So with the first two examples here, I'm just trying to illustrate what we're doing when we're multiplying or dividing with negative numbers. So you don't have to use a number line to solve anything. I'm just trying to help you see the answers we get. And I think a number line is a good way to do it. So this first one, negative 5 times 2. So our starting point on a number line is always at 0. So there's our starting point. And on a number line, negative 5 means we go to the left 5 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we went down 5. But we multiplied it by 2. So you don't go down 5 times once, we go down 5 spots twice. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. Because negative 5 times 2 is really just saying negative 5, or on a number line to the left 5, 2 times. And that shows you our endpoint, which means negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Now when we're dividing, you got to think of it more as we're at negative 6 right now. We have negative 6. So I'm just going to draw a box from 0 to negative 6. So we have that much stuff. That's negative 6 right there. But now we're supposed to split negative 6 into 3 groups, 3 equal groups. So if I draw a line here and here, that splits this into 3 equal groups. And if you look, that goes from 0 to negative 2. So that's 2 steps to the left, so it's negative 2. Then we do 1, 2 more steps, 1, 2 more steps. So each of the groups we created is negative 2. So when we divided negative 6 into 3 groups, each of the groups was equal to negative 2. So negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Again, you don't have to solve questions this way. I just think this is a helpful way to visualize what we're actually doing when we multiply and divide negative numbers. So here are the rules. I think these rules are simpler than addition and subtraction, and it's kind of beautiful that we only have to know 2 rules, and it works the same for multiplication and division, whereas we had different rules for addition and subtraction. But the rules are the same for both multiplying and dividing. Turns out, when you multiply or divide 2 integers with the same sign, now same could mean they are both positive, or it could mean they are both negative. If you have 2 integers with the same sign, multiplying or dividing them will result in a positive answer. Remember, product's the answer for a multiplication problem. Quotient is the answer for a division problem. So same sign, positive answer. But if you're multiplying or dividing 2 integers with different signs, and that can be a positive first and a negative second, or vice versa, negative first and positive second. If the signs are different, then you will get a negative product or quotient. So same signs, positive. Different signs, negative. I'm just going to briefly try to talk about why in the world would a negative times a negative be a positive. And what I'm about to say is just an illustration. It's not a mathematical explanation. It's just trying to illustrate how in the world a negative times a negative would be a positive, or a negative divided by a negative for that matter. So let's say you bet that the Panthers are going to lose. So you're betting a negative thing will happen. So if you bet the Panthers are going to lose a game, you're betting on a negative thing. And then it turns out the Panthers do lose. At least as far as their record and their team, that's also a negative thing. But the result is that you win, which is a positive thing for you. So if you bet on something bad happening and something bad does happen, you win your bet, and that's a positive thing. I'm not endorsing gambling, just using this as an illustration. Okay, so here we go. 5 times 20. So first step, we can just say, let's multiply the numbers together. 5 times 20 is 100. Then I need to look. Are the signs the same? No. The signs are different. I have a negative and a positive. So when the signs are different, the answer is negative. Okay, on this one, we have negative 4 times negative 13. So notice that the signs are the same. So I already know my answer is going to be positive because the signs are the same. Same signs, positive answer. So we have 13 times 4. Sorry, I didn't need that line right there. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So our answer is 52. Number 3, we have different signs, a positive and a negative. So I know my answer will be negative. And we're doing 12 times 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So we have negative 96 as our answer. Number 4, 35 divided by negative 5. So we have opposite signs or different signs. So I know my answer is going to be negative. And 35 divided 5 times will give me 7. Okay, on number 5, we have the same sign. They're both negative, so I know my answer is going to be positive. So 36 divided by 2 is 18, and it's a positive 18 because the signs are the same. Okay, number 6, both signs are negative, so since the signs are the same, my answer will be positive. 35 divided by 5 is 7. I do want to add one more example down here because sometimes on the homework you will see 3 numbers instead of just 2. So I want to make sure I explain what you do if there's more than just 2 numbers. We've talked about with the order of operations, you always move from the left to the right. So when you're given more than 2 numbers, you still want to focus on just 2 numbers at a time. So my first step is to just think about 3 times negative 8. Those two have different signs, so I know their answer is going to be negative. And 3 times 8 is 24. Because their signs are different, that's why it's negative 24. So now that I've taken care of the first 2 numbers, I can then apply the next one, which says divided by negative 4. Now those 2 signs are the same, they're both negative, so my answer is going to be positive. And 24 divided by 4 is 6, so we get a positive 6. Because especially with the rules, if you're looking at all 3 numbers at once, it's going to be like, wait a minute, all these signs are different, but except these 2 are the same. So that's why you only want to focus at 2 numbers at a time. Because these rules just work when you're focusing on 2 numbers at a time.